To all the esteemed guests present here, I'm Lieutenant Commander Dilna K. I'm a logistics officer in the Indian Navy, commissioned in 2014.
And I'm Lieutenant Commander Rupa, commissioned in 2017 into the Naval Armament Inspection Cadre. And today we are here to share a small journey of our life. And our story started with just one boat built in India with just 2 sailors. And we were dreaming to go around the 3 Great Capes, sailing across 4 oceans and 5 continents. But it was not an easy journey. It took us a really long time, 238 days. And also, we covered a long distance, around 25,600 nautical miles to be exact. But this journey wouldn't have been possible without our predecessors. We have our mentor, Commander Abhilash Tomy, present here today. They sailed this world before us with nothing but passion, skill, and an unwavering spirit.
Apart from being an ocean sailor, a circumnavigator, I'm a national level shooter and a cricketer. And it was my 7 years of dream to join the Defense Forces, which got realized when I joined Indian Navy in 2014.
And I was an aeronautical engineer, and I used to do research on aircrafts before I joined the Navy. But when I joined the Navy, I still remember the first day when I sailed. I completely hated it. I thought, why would anybody want to do this to themselves? But weirdly, I liked the feeling, and I started to do sailing on small boats. And it was not an easy journey as well, where I capsized so many times, like 15 times a day. But still, I liked the feeling of it, and I kept going back.
And I had no experience of sailing before, but I was waiting for the right opportunity, and I was craving to do something different in life. And that's when Navy asked for volunteers to go around the world, and we both said yes. A total of 17 officers volunteered, and 2 of us got shortlisted, and we started our training. The training was very rigorous, and we got trained at various schools in Kochi with respect to navigation, communication, how to deal with emergency devices, the medical emergencies, diving capsules, and much more. We got trained for 3 years. The initial 2 years of training was sailing along with 6-member crew. We started our sailing with Presidential Fleet Review from Goa to Visakhapatnam and back, and from Goa to Mauritius and back, and from Goa to Cape Town and to Brazil and back. And the last 1 year of training was more challenging because we started our dual-handed sailing under the mentorship of Commander Abhilash Tomy, and we learned how to handle the boat with just 2 of us. And by the end of 3 years, we completed 38,000 nautical miles, which is 1.5 times of the circumnavigation.
So after all this training, by then we had developed a very close relation with the ocean where we both wanted to sail, just the 2 of us. But there were moments when somebody asked us before the journey, where, are you both 100% ready? And do you know exactly all the answers to whatever is going to happen in the journey? And we said, we may not know all the answers to whatever is going to happen in the journey, but we are ready to start. And this happened.
इस एक्सपेडिशन के लिए मैं अपनी तरफ से आप दोनों को कांग्रेचुलेट करता हूं।
Thank you so much, sir.
वैसे ये बहुत ही हिस्टोरिकल एक्सपेडिशन है। आप सबके ऊपर पूरे हिंदुस्तान को बहुत ही नाज है, यानी एक सेंस ऑफ प्राइड सबके अंदर, हर हिंदुस्तानी के अंदर है।
With the blessings of the whole nation, the Indian Navy's Navika Sagar Parikrama 2 expedition by Lieutenant Commander Dilna K and Lieutenant Commander Rupa A on board INSV Tarini was flagged off by Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, Chief of the Naval Staff, from INS Mandavi in Goa on 2nd October 2024.
Continuously 30 knots of wind blowing off Kannur, and the sea is completely lit up. It's so beautiful with bioluminescence.
With 35 knots, the winds moved up.
All the sea state. Okay, I am monitoring your progress on a daily basis.
The sighting of the albatross is a sweet welcome into the temperate zone. Dilna and Rupa were honoured at the Parliament of Western Australia for their significant achievement of sailing around the world on board INSV Tarini.
And wish the Lieutenant Commanders all of the very best and fair wind for your travels around the globe.
As they crossed into the roaring 40s, their condition worsened. They began to get seasick, and rest became a luxury in the roaring 40s as they took turns keeping the boat on course. Experiencing a sea state of 6 and wind speed gusting up to 60 knots, they braved the violent waves and reached Littleton. At Littleton, the representatives from the Maori tribe welcomed Dilna and Rupa with Maori traditional rituals. After a brief stay with diplomatic matters and boat repairs, they left Littleton on 4th of January 2025. They crossed Point Nemo on 30th January 2025. This was a special moment for seafarers and mariners, as Point Nemo, also known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility, is the point in the ocean farthest from any landmass. They crossed Cape Horn on 15th of February 2025. Traveling through this region requires exceptional navigational expertise and resilience to the harsh conditions of the Southern Ocean. The passage takes the sailors through the Drake Passage, a treacherous waterway known for its extreme winds, towering waves, and unpredictable weather. After a brief stay at Port Stanley, they continued sailing to the South Atlantic Ocean. On 15th of April 2025, INSV Tarini was ceremonially flagged off from the Royal Cape Yacht Club for the final leg of her journey to Goa. INSV Tarini, after a rigorous and eventful circumnavigation, reached Goa at the end of May 2025. The Navika Sagar Parikrama 2 will forever remain a beacon of women's empowerment, maritime excellence, and national pride.
So to call it as a circumnavigation, we had to follow certain rules and regulations. We had to start and finish at the same port. We started from Goa and finished at Goa. We had to cross the equator twice and sail a minimum of 21,600 nautical miles, which is the circumference of the Earth at the equator, and cross the three great capes, the Cape Lewin in Australia, the Cape Horn in South America, and Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. We did the circumnavigation with 4 stops, starting from Goa. We crossed the equator, took an eastward course, and the first stop was in Australia. From Australia, we sailed through the Australian Bight and Tasman Sea and reached the second port, New Zealand. From New Zealand, we crossed Pacific Ocean, sailed in between Antarctica and South America, and reached the third port, Port Stanley. And from Port Stanley, crossed the Atlantic Ocean and reached Cape Town. From Cape Town, we crossed the equator again and back to Goa. These are the distance which we have covered leg-wise. So INSV Tarini is an Indian-built boat made in Goa by Aquarius Shipyard Limited. It's a 17-meter boat. Imagine a boat which is just the size of the stage, and a boat which is having a width of 5 meters. It's a very technically superior boat with good navigation system, but we don't have basic facilities which we all are used to on the land. Like we don't have a fridge, we don't have an AC, we don't have a heater, we have a basic hand pump toilet and a basic gas stove.
So the life on deck, it's very rigorous, I would say, and no day is the same. Something or the other keeps happening, but we stick to a routine irrespective of the weather. Certain things which we'll have to keep repeating. This includes sending a report to the Navy, checking the weather for the day, for the next 3 days, and for the next 1 week, and paving our navigation, paving our route, and where we might go. But also including to all those responsibilities, we were our own doctors, mechanic, engineers, cooks, and even our own maids, because this is double-handed circumnavigation where it was just the 2 of us trying to manage all of the activities on the boat. And also the weather. The places where we sailed, the majority of the route happened in places or coordinates which are known by the nature, which was called the Roaring 40s, the Furious 50s, and the Screaming 60s. And the highest latitude which we sailed during this journey was 57 degrees south when we were trying to round the Cape Horn in the Drake Passage. And the Southern Ocean, we feel this is a place where only good seamanship survive, and there's no room for error. The Southern Ocean swell and the sea state, it still haunts us, I would say, where the average sea state in that area is usually around 6 to 7. And it's not just the weather, I would say. With just both of us on the boat, after long days of sailing, the longest journey was 47 days when we were trying to cross the Pacific. And with just both of us on the boat, the same face, the same boat, we get used to the space which you're in. But then when you go outside and you have a look at the endless horizon, where suddenly you feel you're very insignificant in front of the nature, and you feel like you're a very small cock floating in the ocean. That gives you a sense of enormity of the nature. But we feel that more than going through all of this, the hardest part was capturing all those moments when we were going through all those moments. But we tried our best to capture all those moments, which we will show you in a short video. So this was a glimpse of what happens in the boat. But we went through all of this in the Southern Ocean with a freezing weather. We mentioned earlier that we do not have a freezer or a fridge on board, but the weather itself freezes everything on the deck. There in the Southern Ocean, the air hurts, the cold hurts, the water, everything on the deck hurts. With numbing cold, we used to rush on the deck to do an evolution and used to come inside to warm our hands because every minute matters, where we used to think before we go and act and start to do an evolution.
None of the days were same. Every day was different, and we had to do a lot of repairs at sea. We had issues with our steering system because of the huge Southern Ocean swell. The ropes used to get shaft. The winches used to stop working because of the heavy loads on them. The weight of one sail is approximately 100 kgs, which is manually operated by both of us, and it required regular maintenance. In Pacific Ocean, at around 2 a.m. on a pitch dark night, one day we had a series of alarms which went off. We had no GPS, no wind indicator, no boat steering, and no boat heading. Even though we had backups, for a moment we felt like we got lost, but we were able to go through all those 100 cables and get back on time. It took us 3 to 4 hours to go through all those cables and rectify the error. And we had water ingress in the boat because of the huge wave crashing. And we had short circuit, and sometimes the water enters the mattress and we sleep on the wet mattress on those cold temperatures.
But also, with the limited resources on board, with limited fresh food, we used to take up fresh food at every port we stopped. But then the fresh foods used to last for a few days, and after which we used to shift to our tinned foods and canned foods. But over the series of the legs, we got used to the same food because I was limited with my knowledge of my own recipes with the same amount of, or the same sources which we had. But we used to make food with whatever was available. And we even celebrated Lieutenant Commander Dilna's birthday in the middle of the Pacific, where we just had some chocolates and a tin sweets. But I hope that this was her best birthday ever. And also sleep was another challenge which we had to face with just both of us on the boat. It was another risk, I would say, because it was always a question of sleeping, or it was a question between a responsibility and survivability, because it was never safe when we both had dozed off due to going through the storm. But all of these challenges, all of the discomforts, these were the times when we were completely exhausted, frustrated, mentally and physically. We realized what we are capable of and what our true potential is.
So sometimes the challenges came to us, but sometimes we went behind the challenges. And the biggest highlight of our journey was crossing the Point Nemo. Point Nemo is the remotest part of the Earth, and it is called as oceanic pole of inaccessibility. And we became the first Indians, first Asians, and first in the world to go to the exact coordinates of Point Nemo on a sailboat. We also collected 60 water samples across the ocean and from Point Nemo, which is being used by the National Institute of Oceanography for further studies.
While Point Nemo was indeed a very unique experience, but we planned this entire journey around a very special point called as Cape Horn, the Everest and the envy of all sailors. We still remember that day, the February 14th, where fortunately or unfortunately, we got our worst of weather while rounding Cape Horn. But finally, we went through the situation and we joined a special group of sailors called the Cape Horners. You could see us smiling in the video, but that moment there were millions of emotions which were going behind the smile. And also we flew our Indian Navy's flag and our India's flag at every longitude and every milestones which we covered, which was indeed an honor and a privilege for both of us. We did a lot of outreach activities where we interacted with the locals, the friendly nation navies, students, and school students, and also college students at every port wherever we stopped. And also we had our own best moments where we got to see the nature at her best. We also got the rarest opportunity of witnessing the comet A3, which comes only in 80,000 years. And few photographs of sunsets and sunrises. These were the moments which made us feel that whatever we're going through was worth it.
We had many unexpected guests on board. The seabirds, the squid, the flying fishes, which comes to the boat very often. We usually see them at 30-degree latitudes, and we don't cook them, we just throw them away. We saw lots of dolphins, whales, seals, and the dolphins are very curious, and they come and swim along with us. This is in middle of Atlantic Ocean. Once we saw thousands of birds flying around Tarini. It was such a surprising event which we witnessed. We saw albatross at every latitudes, different sizes, different colors, different shapes.
And I would say that we had one equipment which never failed on the boat, which was our teamwork. Although it was just the both of us, and we learned it the hard way that teamwork is not built in calm waters or when we were preparing the boat in harbor. We found true teamwork when we were going through the rough seas and during the storm. And of course, we brought back not just memories, but our own personal reflections back from the sea. So yes, we returned to the same place, Goa, where we started, but we were not the exact same persons which we left. We developed a very deep respect for nature, being close with the elements for a long time. We realized that they don't demand control, but respect. And also, we made a lot of plans, but our plans were all very fragile, and we always had to go off script. But those were the moments we had to keep our calm. So that actually taught us a lesson which we try and use it in our day-to-day life. And every challenge, be it mental, physical, or emotional, was a lesson for us where we both grew. And also sailing for long days and sailing as a journey in a life taught us the importance of small things and how we take each and every small thing for granted. And also one of the most freeing yet the most difficult lesson for me was to lose control or to let go of control which is not under my control.
And this picture was a dream for the last 4 years. And we came back on 29th May 2025 after 8 months of sailing. We all might sail different ships. We all might build different ships. We all might face different seas, but we all are shaped by the same waters, and in that we are called to push our limits. Our circumnavigation has ended, but our journey will still begin. At sea, the wind and the waves doesn't ask who is at the helm. It doesn't differentiate if you're a man or a woman. At sea, the only thing matters is professionalism and your ability to sail, to be in the situation. And I can say that the reason and the purpose of our journey was not just to cross the oceans and cross the miles, but to change the perception of the entire world.
And also yet, after coming back to the land, on the shore, we realize that the world as a whole gives us gentle reminders that we noticed first as women and then next as a sailor. While we mentioned that the ocean doesn't itself discriminate, we believe that we all have to strive together to build the institutions around the oceans do not do the discriminations as well, which after listening to all the talks, we believe that that is in the process. And also, after interacting with a lot of kids, both girls and boys alike, we saw something very simple but deep, which was they all were willing, they all were capable, but what they're waiting for is an opportunity. And we feel that the distance now which we will have to cover is not geographically but socially. And also, we hope in this process of building a society, we want to reach a state where the word Shakti is recognized beyond gender. And I feel that is the true equality which we all are striving towards. Jai Hind, thank you.